welcome to my first vlog. Really pleased to do this. I hope you'll enjoy it. The channel's called Rand in Motion. I'll tell you a little about myself. I've been riding for many years, since I was 11 years old, and had numerous motorcycles, but I've only had 2 street bikes that are owned. This is my second street bike. This is a CVR 1000 RR by Honda. Great bike, absolutely love it. Tons of power. I'm still breaking this one in. It's only got 566 miles on it, but so far loving it. It's starting to make some more horsepower now, which is cool. I like the leader bikes because I like the torque from them. I live in a pretty cool city. It's got some terrible drivers, I'll be honest, but I love the city anyway. And I don't complain about the bad drivers like some moto vloggers. There's a, you know, you're gonna get that anywhere, and so I think you just have to keep your cool and keep riding and be aware that there are people out there who could hit you. Anyway, some of my other interests, so you know a little more about me, I guess. I like canoeing, I like photography, bicycling. I haven't done bicycling for a while though, and haven't done too much canoeing lately either. Really love it though. Photography, really love. And of course there's motorcycling, but you probably already knew that. I'm in one of the nicest cities in the world. This is Vancouver. It's a coastal city. I'm actually in Burnaby right now, which is sort of a satellite city. It's a nice evening, so out for an evening ride. Houses here are super expensive. Not so much Burnaby. Well, Burnaby's pretty expensive too, but in Vancouver they're really expensive. It's getting so nobody can really afford a house. It's kind of like San Francisco here, which is too bad. But you can still rent, so that's good. You do get, just like San Francisco, you get lots of people living together sometimes, roommates. Oh, there's a cop car. And he's got another paying customer, so I'm in luck. I generally try to stick within the road rules. It's really tempting with a motorcycle when you got so much power. It's just so easy to speed. It's so easy to lose your license probably. Here we've got really draconian laws, and if you're 20 miles an hour or more above the speed limit, they can actually impound your motorcycle or car. So you gotta be a little bit careful. Wheelies, like anywhere else, are frowned upon, but in general I don't wheelie my bike anyway, because it's not a nice thing to do to your bike. I mean, I know how, and I've done them in the past. I did a lot of dirt biking years ago and was training to do motocross riding, and injured myself while doing the training. I was actually getting pretty good. I was racing against, in practice, against another motocross rider who was really good. And but I did some work on my bike and hopped it up, did some mods, and the mods made it was a curve changer on the ignition. The mods made the bike react a lot differently, and I hit the throttle going up a hill, went into a unintended wheelie, and lost it and looped out. And when I did so, I fractured my leg and ripped up the cartilage in the left knee. I didn't walk right for like 2 years. They couldn't really figure out exactly what was wrong until later. So that's my only real motorcycle accident that I had, and it was a long time ago. So I'm all healed up, of course, and able to ride no problem. Wow, it's such a nice night. Actually, it's been a little too hot to ride during the day, so this is kind of nice to ride in the evening like this, where it's near sunset and it's not too hot, not too cold. Got all the gear on, so I like to keep things sort of PG-13, so I won't be swearing a lot. I'm not much of a swearer anyway, unless I drop something on my toe, and then you're gonna hear like a blue streak, but I might bleep that out anyway. You know what's funny? I've got a second motorcycle. This one is the one I've been riding the most lately, but I have an older bike that was actually my first owned street bike, and it's a Honda VFR, and it's a really cool bike. I still love it, but this thing is more fun to ride, I would say. But the other bike is better for doubling people on, and so I may occasionally take it out on a ride and pick up some girls or something. Speaking of that, you know, like this bike, trying to use it for that it's not great, because the rear seat is just tiny. It's just a little butt triangle, and you know, I don't want her to fall off. It's not conducive to getting a second date, man. I can have a little bit of a sarcastic sense of humor at times, so hopefully, like, my goal is really just to entertain you guys, and I enjoy doing this, so it's just a bonus that I get out to do something that I love, and somebody else likes it too, and can watch and share some laughs and some adventures. I'll probably go on some trips on the highway, like longer tours later on. Just not right away. I usually take the other bike, the VFR, for that if I'm going really long distances, like 300 miles in a trip or something like that. And I have occasionally done 300, 400 miles on a day trip. It's funny when you see some of these other motovloggers and they end up riding in the back, whether on their own bike or someone else's, and they start screaming like little girls. They're like, "Oh my God, this is wrong, this is insane. I've got no control, I just can't handle it." And yeah, I have been on the back, and I sort of know what that's like. The last time I went on an extended ride on the back was to pick up my VFR with a friend, and he had a CBR Blackbird, the 1100X, which at one time was the fastest production motorcycle in the world, and that thing made just outrageous power, and I really wasn't used to that kind of power at that time on a street bike anyway. And so he went down this on-ramp for the freeway merge ramp and just opened it up, and man, I nearly flew off the back. I had my hands, there was two little handrails on the back, and I was pushing on the back, you know, with my arms, oh man, as hard as I could, just to stay on, because I didn't have my arm wrapped around his body. Yeah, you know, being a guy, you don't want to wrap your arms around a guy in front of you too bad. It's okay for a girl. So anyway, I nearly came off. It took everything I had to stay on. And afterwards he told me, oh yeah, that wasn't even full throttle. He said, I only went, you know, not even quite 3/4. And had I gone full throttle, he said, if I went full throttle, you wouldn't be able to hang on. He said, you have to wrap both your arms around the driver's body or you'll fly off. I was like, oh great. You nearly made me fly off anyway. Oh shoot. Anyway, riding on the back is not quite as much fun as being in control. Oh, the other part of the story, the very first time that I did it, well, it was not the first time, but one of the first times on a street bike where I was on the back with somebody. They, look at this. I told you they had terrible drivers here. Like, this guy can't even pull out. Sorry. It's hilarious. Yeah, when I was on the back of that, this bike with a friend of mine, and it was a sport bike. He's the motocrosser that I was training with at an earlier time, and he was an excellent rider, just awesome, man. He could hold a wheelie for a couple of miles. And so what does he do? You know, we're headed downtown to this fair. I'm on the back, and sure enough, the guy, you know, does a wheelie with me on the back. And I mean, I'm sure girls are just terrified. I was terrified. I was like, dude, put that front wheel down. I was pounding on his back, like, put that front wheel down now. And he was just laughing. I could hear him laughing his head off. He thought that was freaking hilarious. And as the guy in the back, I didn't think it was very funny, man. I really didn't. But oh well, what can you do, right? That's the thing, when you're on the back, you got no control. So you just hope that the guy who's driving is going to be nice to you. So that was that. I got some funny stories about him that I'll share with you guys in a different vlog sometime. Basically, I bought a car. We jumped a car once. It was really kind of insane. I'll tell you about it. This thing just makes awesome power, even though it's still being broken in. I swear, there's so much power, you could wheelie in the first 3 gears, no problem. I'm more of a fan of Honda than some other sport bikes, just because the ergonomics are good. I'm a tall guy, I'm 6'1", and it's like the most comfortable sport bike. An R6, I feel like I'm like squatting on my knees. It's like you're getting ready to drop one. Whereas this thing, it's pretty relaxed, you know. My wrists don't get too sore. It's got enough power for me. Doesn't have a lot of the electronic aids. I kind of, in a way, I like that, you know. I don't want to play around with buttons. It's a little too distracting. And it's kind of old school having no traction control. But it does have ABS. And, you know, so the important thing is being able to brake fast, and it can do that. The traction control, well, that's in the rider's hands, you know? It's up to you. You ride in a certain way, you don't get in a problem. Woohoo! Feels great to be out. This is only my third ride of the year. Did a couple of other rides, but they've mostly been short around town because I'm still breaking the bike in. Take the key out. Use the key, Luke. May the key be with you.